When I consider calling a game an S-tier title, I expect a list of stringent requirements to be met. The game must be incredibly fun to play, be the peak of its particular genre, and be so good at what it does that you genuinely need to think about how it could possibly be better. In case you're new to the channel, I usually put Titanfall 2 into this category because as far as the shooter genre goes, it just did such an unfathomable amount right that it can sometimes be hard to know exactly what they could have done better. In the same vein, I consider Deep Rock Galactic an S-tier title because if you're even a fan of shooters you like playing with friends, you'd be an absolute insane person to skip such an indescribably phenomenal game. The game comes from Coffee Stain, a collection of development and publishing studios in Sweden, which was founded by 9 university students just over a decade ago. You might remember them for their breakout title, Goat Simulator, from 2014, but these guys have since developed a reputation for punching so unbelievably above their own weight. Their latest hit was a little known gem called Valheim, which despite being developed by just 5 people, sold a whole 8 million copies, and when I first picked up their factory building game, Satisfactory, I literally played 20 hours in the first 2 days. These guys know how to make some absolute bangers, and even though I've already made a video on Deep Rock around a year ago, it's still yet to get anywhere near the praise it truly deserves. The more I talk, the more you're going to wonder how on earth a game this good can possibly exist in such an imperfect world.
As a freshly formed team, I think we should go around introducing ourselves. I'm the Underminer, and I have a big dick.
Deep Rock Galactic sees you as the employee of a space mining company set to mine the resource-rich and incredibly dangerous interior of the planet Harxes 4. Owing to their skill in mining and their favorably stocky builds, dwarves make up the blue-collar workforce, making them ideal to weather the bug-like creatures that dwell underground. Each mission sees you and 4 other players tasked with going down into one of the many biomes of the planet, completing a task such as setting up a fuel line or extracting a certain amount of minerals before finally getting out with your lives in the short window the dropship is available for extraction. Of course, you and your 4-person team won't be using the same loadout to keep each other safe, which is why you'll be given the choice of 4 entirely different classes with their own selection of weapons, equipment, and upgrade trees to enjoy. The first class is the Scout. This is your most agile dwarf equipped with a grappling hook, who can get to areas that would be near impossible for the rest of the team to traverse. They're also equipped with a flare gun, which allows them to illuminate entire cave systems, where the rest of the team is stuck rationing their supply of glorified glow sticks. In a fight, scouts are usually best equipped to do mass damage against single targets, but tend to struggle when swarmed without help. Scouts almost always manage to gather the most amount of minerals, and once they hit the endgame builds, they basically turn into fucking Batman. Next up is the Gunner, a class, as you might imagine, with a lot of firepower. The Gunner is easy to use, gets to play with some seriously strong toys, and has the ability to move around his entire team with the help of his ziplines. The Gunner can absolutely decimate swarms by himself if need be, and comes equipped with a bubble shield, which can protect his entire team if shit really starts hitting the fan. The Gunner is by far the most likely to clutch a run by himself, as he's able to safely revive teammates and can usually deal out enough damage to squeeze his way through a heavy wave of enemies when the shit hits the fan. With an endgame build, the Gunner can equip ricochet bullets to absolutely delete swarms, and elephant rounds on his secondary to become that Robo-Man from Destiny. We now come to Drillers, who are absolute gods among men. As the name implies, drillers are able to drill directly through the terrain, meaning they can carve a path to a higher vantage point, create artificial choke points, or even drill directly to the objective, saving the entire team an absolute shit ton of time. Navigation means nothing to a driller, only their almighty drill. If that wasn't enough, they also get access to C4, which not only ruins any enemy close enough to see it, but it can entirely mitigate the need to drill, or even mine minerals at all. Truth be told however, drillers almost always end up killing their teammates half the time anyway, so you've been fucking warned. In terms of combat, the driller is a walking war crime, getting access to a flamethrower, cryo cannon, and sludge pump, all of which would earn you stern letters from the United Nations. An endgame driller can absolutely carry their team in all aspects of the game, and do in a few seconds what other classes would take several minutes to achieve. Last but not least is my own main, with the engineer, an extremely versatile class, which can flex into a lot of niche roles. The engineer is equipped with a platform gun, a device which shoots delicious pancakes, which can be used to make stairways, bridges, safety platforms, barriers, or anything else your imagination can conjure. Most people won't consider these as good as the other navigation options, but in a pinch, you can pretty much make them do anything you need them to do. The engineer is no slouch in combat either, getting access to a shotgun, submachine gun, and even a fucking smart rifle. These fucking mad lads took Titanfall's smart pistol and made it even better, and because it's not against other players, you don't feel bad about wiping an entire room with a carefully charged lock. Not only this, but the engineer also gets a sentry turret, which like literally every other piece of equipment, also gets its own progression tree to make it perform exactly the way you need. Endgame engineers will have an answer for every solution, rack up some seriously impressive kill counts, and literally be given access to weapons of mass destruction.
I like 'em big! I like 'em chunky!
What happens when you put all of this together is an incredible gameplay loop that sees you and your team constantly problem solving, contingent on what the situation needs. Depending on everyone's loadout, the mission type, mission modifiers, the biome, the specific enemies, and the countless other variables that shift along the way, there's just so much that can change, making every run feel like its own unique adventure. All these systems work together so excellently to provide players with war stories you can tell each other when you're finally kicking back in the space station and you celebrate knowing that you earned your promotion just as you did the beard on your chin.
Oh no, a big one! That's what your mom said to me last night.
One standout for Deep Rock is the Loadout customization system, which although isn't as wildly extensive as many other offerings, strikes a much better balance between approachability and meaningful upgrades. Nothing makes me less interested than a progression system that simply adds a 2% stat bonus to a particular move when you spin around twice while you happen to be on fire. Deep Rock will do shit like give you a sentry turret, with the very first upgrade giving you the option to take along a second for shits and giggles. It'll then let one upgrade interact with another, like one that allows a shotgun to overcharge the turret whenever you shoot it directly. In fact, until you even reach the end game, you'll be given something new to upgrade nearly every single mission, and once you think you've maxed out a class completely, you start getting access to overclocks, which will completely alter the way a weapon functions altogether. My biggest criticism of the entire game is that the perk system for the dwarves themselves aren't nearly as interesting or impactful as the other skill trees, but this is a complaint that the developers intend to look into sometime into the future. At this point, we haven't even gotten to the cosmetic customization, and by extension, how this game monetizes itself. Truth be told, as a live service game, this is very likely one of the best monetized titles you're likely to find anywhere on the market. After buying the game, 95% of every single cosmetic item is earnable within game, meaning if you want something, you can usually just buy it for a few credits in the store. The cosmetics themselves also have a kind of unspoken progression, where the more you progress and unlock, the more you're given access to colors that stray away from the base shades of each class. If you see a dwarf decked out in a full helmet and all black armor, you can probably assume that they've got some serious clutch potential if things go south.
I'm the Dark Underminer! I'm black!
There are of course a few cosmetic packs for those who do want to support the developers, but in my opinion, they really do save the good stuff for people who just want to play the game and unlock those end-game cosmetics. Regardless of this fact, I still religiously buy every single cosmetic pack as they release, because if I enjoyed any other game half this much, I know for a fact, it would have already tried to squeeze hundreds of dollars out of my wallet. However, if you're still not fucking entertained, Deep Rock Galactic also has a battle pass system, and it's absolutely 100% free. No shortcuts or premium tracks, you just jump on, and you earn those rewards, without having to put down a single cent. Not only this, but the developers have even stated that they intend to let players earn rewards even after the season is over, meaning even if you miss out, you can still earn that funny headgear you might have really wanted. If that's not enough, the game isn't even that expensive, with it regularly going on sale for under $30, and even being included for free on the Xbox Game Pass. With this in mind, I've still bought this for multiple other people on Steam, because if a developer cares about your money this much, they, more than anyone, deserve to have it.
Hey, it's me, the Underminer. When I'm not using my big manly drills, I'm busy impressing some thick dwarf bitches. And with Manscaped, you can too! With Manscaped's perfect performance package kit, you'll have everything you need to impress that special someone. And between you and your impressive penis, they're bound to fall in love with one of you. The crop preserver will keep that sack fresher than the Underminer's drip. The weed whacker will keep those nose hairs more absent than my girlfriend's father figure. And the Shears 2.0 will keep those nails more perfect than my sexy chiseled jawline. The best part of the pack is the Lawnmower 4.0. A waterproof trimmer more quiet than a sleeping glyphid. And more delicate than a pointy-eared leaf lover. I once tried to shave my nuts with my big manly drills, but fuck me, that didn't go to plan. With Manscaped, you'll always be ready for a surprise doctor's appointment, a late night visit from my bitch of an ex-wife, or a deep dive with the homies, if you know what I mean. Checking out with the code on screen will get you 2 free gifts, a 20% discount, and free shipping to anywhere in the universe! Manscaped, the best way to take care of your beard, balls, and big booty bitches. And more delicate than a pointy-eared...
As you might imagine, developers this fucking wholesome also tend to foster an unreasonably supportive community. Greybeards want to help newer players, and many consider it a privilege to show off the advanced strategies of what this game has to offer. I was left in a state of fucking disbelief the first time I witnessed my team create a perfectly defensible bunker with a choke point designed to weather an entire wave, and I feel just as much joy getting to share that with new players today. At one point last year, the developer straight up told their entire community that their planned update would be getting a huge delay to avoid crunch and make sure it was up to the standard they were satisfied with, and lo and fucking behold, absolutely zero people gave a shit. If these developers were about to give their community so much respect, you can be sure that players just wanted them to enjoy a healthy work-life balance.
This is what the Underminer did to your mom last night!
This kind of attitude is even reflected in the in-game mechanics themselves. Players get absolutely no benefit from tipping the bartender, but they'll do it anyway, because it just feels good. There is no bonus reward for taking on the burden of carrying Doretta's head all the way back to the dropship, but a dedicated team won't leave such a companion behind. In fact, even if you get kicked in game, for one reason or another, you'll even be given your share of rewards up until that point, because it would be a crime to not be compensated for your hard work. You'll be playing this game with friends, and you just can't help but be caught up in the magical, intoxicating energy that this game so perfectly fosters. You'll remember the time you found treasure and all celebrated together. You'll look back fondly on when you completed a machine event with less than a second to spare, and you won't be able to help yourself complimenting everyone on the cool new beards they just unlocked. You'll find yourself running low on ammo and only just surviving a swarm 1 minute to playing an impromptu football match while overlooking the entire universe the next. You'll end up obsessing over the tiny drips of lore scattered throughout the game and finding entire gameplay mechanics long after you thought you'd mastered everything. We haven't even mentioned the mod support, the constant and significant updates, the absolutely fucking laughable 3GB size, the absolute banger of a soundtrack, and the fact that every single mission is a masterclass in procedural generation. But these are such key features you just take for granted in a game this good.
Yeah, we really double teamed that one.
This game is so well designed to make you happy that even if you don't have friends around to help you along the way, they'll send some down to keep you company. And even if you just want to explore on your own for a while, the developers still give you a companion to stop you from getting lonely. There are times when I genuinely want to stop every other series I make and just be happy creating Deep Rock content because it's such a fun game to even have the privilege of discovering. I genuinely believe that Deep Rock Galactic is the pinnacle of what a good video game can achieve. This is a development team that wanted to make an incredibly fun game about going on mining adventures with friends, and they absolutely nailed what they set out to achieve. While the AAA space is trying to chase the newest trends and sacrifice their artistic vision for another chance to monetize its customer base, Coffee Stain developers are so fucking concerned that you feel like you've gotten your value for money that they'll limit your ability to pay them, even when you know in your heart that they deserve more than they ask. If your taste in video games extends as far as wanting to shoot things in the company of friends, then I honestly cannot recommend this game enough. And in an industry often so devoid of studios with unconditional and uncompromising passion for their vision, Deep Rock Galactic stands out as a true shining example of what an S-tier game can be. Rock and Stone Brothers. Rock and fucking Stone.
Stand back, supply pod inbound.
The Underminer thinks you're not fucking slick. Fuck.